Why does the mind whirl in a tempest of stress? In this moment, let us explore a realm of tranquility, a path tread upon by Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, whose life was a testament to inner peace and enlightenment. His journey from royal luxury to the awakening under the Bodhi tree serves as a beacon for all who seek respite from the clutches of stress. The art of letting go. Siddhartha Gautama, born a prince, lived in the opulence of palaces, surrounded by every conceivable luxury. Yet, within the gilded walls of his existence, he found not contentment, but the seeds of curiosity about the world beyond. It was in his encounters with old age, sickness, and death that Siddhartha confronted the impermanence of life, the universal truths that bind every soul. This realization was the first step on his path to becoming the Buddha. In the context of stress, let us consider the profound lesson of impermanence. Stress often arises from our desire to control, to hold tightly onto the ephemeral, be it relationships, successes, or the simple comfort of routine. But Gautama's life teaches us that in the acceptance of life's transient nature lies the secret to peace. What are we but leaves in the wind, each moment a precious chance to dance in the breeze, not to cling to the branch in fear. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound lessons from the legend. Reflect on a time when change disrupted the still waters of your life. It is in these moments that the Buddha's teachings illuminate the path. You only lose what you cling to. How might your experience of stress transform if you loosened your grip on the constant craving for certainty? The Buddha's journey continued with years of asceticism, where he subjected himself to the rigors of extreme deprivation. Yet, even in the starkness of his renunciation, enlightenment eluded him. It was only when he embraced the middle path, a balance between the extremes of indulgence and self-mortification, that he found the way to awakening. In your own life, stress often manifests as a pendulum swinging wildly between excess and deficiency. Work may consume you until burnout looms, or procrastination may leave you listless, adrift in a sea of unfulfilled potential. But what if you walked the middle path? Imagine a life where effort and rest, commitment and self-compassion coexisted in harmony. The Buddha's insight here is profound yet simple. To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. Under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha's meditation led him to the root of all suffering, ignorance and desire. With mindfulness, he observed the workings of his own mind, seeing the genesis of stress in every attachment and aversion. His enlightenment was a direct experience of reality, unclouded by the distortions of the ego. What if you observed your life with the same mindful attention? When stress tightens its grip, it is often because you are lost in the narrative of your thoughts, a story that amplifies fear and uncertainty. But the Buddha offers a different narrative. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Imagine the tranquility that could be yours if you lived with such presence, each breath a reminder of life's constant unfolding. Compassion, the heart of stress-free living. As the Buddha traveled, teaching the Dharma, he embodied compassion. He recognized that just as he had suffered, so too did every being. His compassion was not merely a feeling, but an active expression of his deep understanding of interconnectedness. Consider how stress often isolates you, how it builds walls between you and others. Yet, what if you viewed your fellow beings through the lens of compassion that the Buddha held? Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so, let one cultivate a boundless love towards all beings. In this boundless love, There is no room for the division that stress thrives upon. In compassion, you find a shared journey, a collective easing of burdens. As we draw this portion of our exploration to a close, let us sit with a question that cuts to the core of our topic. What if the source of your stress is not the world around you, but the lens through which you view it? The life of the Buddha teaches us that stress is not a given. It is a choice rooted in our perceptions and reactions. By embracing impermanence, seeking balance, practicing mindfulness, and cultivating compassion, you can transform your experience of life. In the silence that follows, let the seeds of these teachings take root, and may you find the peace that lies within. The Symphony of Interdependence. Siddhartha Gautama, upon awakening, beheld the intricate web of life, a tapestry woven with the threads of interdependence. He saw that nothing existed in isolation, that every entity was a note in the grand symphony of existence. This insight dissolved the illusion of self and other, revealing the interwoven nature of all phenomena. In our lives, stress often emerges from a sense of separation, an us versus them mentality, or a me against the world outlook. It is the belief in a solitary struggle that weighs heavily upon the human heart. But what if you saw yourself as part of the symphony, each person's stress a note that affects the whole? The Buddha's wisdom offers a transformative perspective. If you light a lamp for somebody, it will also brighten your path. The act of supporting others, of recognizing your connection to the greater whole, can illuminate your life and dissipate the shadows of stress. The Buddha was not only a spiritual guide, but also a master of the mind. He taught that the mind has the power to shape reality, to turn leaden thoughts into golden serenity. His teachings on right thought, part of the Noble Eightfold Path, encourage the cultivation of thoughts rooted in renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Imagine if your thoughts were seeds and your mind the garden. What kind of harvest would your current thoughts yield? Would it be a bounty of stress and worry, or a harvest of peace and contentment? The Buddha's guidance is clear. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. By consciously planting seeds of positive intention, you can create a garden where stress cannot take root. Throughout his teachings, the Buddha emphasized the liberating power of forgiveness. Holding on to anger and resentment is like clutching a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Forgiveness is not about condoning wrongs, but about freeing oneself from the corrosive grip of holding on to pain. Consider the last time you felt wronged. The stress of that grievance likely took up residence in your heart, building a fortress of bitterness. Now, envision dismantling those walls, brick by brick, through forgiveness. The Buddha's words resonate with timeless truth. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. In forgiveness, there is a release, a return to a state of peace where stress cannot thrive. Siddhartha Gautama's life, especially after his enlightenment, was marked by simplicity. He owned little, finding richness in the depths of his inner experiences rather than in material possessions. In simplicity, he found a profound peace, uncluttered by the complexities that often breed stress. In your own life, how often is stress a product of complexity, of an overabundance of things, choices, and desires? There is wisdom in considering a simpler path, where each possession, each commitment is weighed not by its societal value, but by the tranquility or turmoil it brings to your life. The Buddha's life reminds us, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. In simplicity, there is an elegance that allows the spirit to soar above the tumult of a cluttered existence. As we conclude this segment, let us hold a question in our hearts. What if the richness of life is found not in the breadth of our possessions or the scope of our achievements, but in the depth of our clarity and the quality of our presence in each moment? The teachings of the Buddha offer a blueprint for a life free of stress, not through the absence of challenge, but through a profound shift in understanding and perspective. Through interdependence, mastery of the mind, forgiveness, and simplicity, we can craft a life of serenity that is both a sanctuary for the self and a haven for all beings. The breath as an anchor. In the vast ocean of existence, where the waves of life's circumstances rise and fall with relentless succession, the Buddha taught the art of anchoring oneself to the present through awareness of the breath. This practice, known as anapanasati, invites a deep attunement to the rhythmic cadence of breathing, a natural process that can guide one back to the calm shores of the present moment. When you find yourself adrift in the sea of stress, buffeted by the winds of worry and the tides of trepidation, remember that your breath is a sanctuary. Each inhalation offers vitality, each exhalation a release of tension. The Buddha's insight into this practice is encapsulated in his words. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. In the mindful embrace of each breath, you can find an oasis of peace amidst the desert of stress. The Buddha's life was a testament to the liberation found in non-attachment. After his great awakening, he understood that attachment to impermanent things inevitably leads to suffering. This is not to say that he advocated for a life devoid of joy or human connection, but rather, he encouraged a relationship with the world that was free from clinging and grasping. Imagine living with open hands, where everything you love, everything you strive for, rests upon your palms without the force of gripping. This is the embodiment of non-attachment. It does not diminish the beauty of life's gifts. Rather, it enhances your appreciation of their transient presence. The Buddha's teaching is poignant. The root of suffering is attachment. In the gentle release of attachment, you find that stress cannot easily bind you, for you are fluid, moving gracefully with life's ever-changing dance. Contentment was the elixir that the Buddha discovered and shared freely with all who would listen. He found joy not in external achievements or accolades, but in the serene acceptance of each moment as it was. Contentment, he taught, was not complacency but a profound appreciation for the enoughness of the present. How often does the pursuit of more money, more recognition, more experiences, become the thief of contentment, the architect of stress? The Buddha's life offers a different perspective. Contentment is the greatest wealth. In this understanding, contentment becomes an antidote to the relentless striving that fuels stress. It invites a celebration of the present, a recognition of the abundance that already exists within your grasp. The Buddha's enlightenment revealed to him the dance of life as one of detachment and engagement, a delicate balance where one could be in the world but not of it. He engaged with the world, teaching and sharing his insights, yet he remained detached from the fruits of his actions, from the need for outcomes to define his worth. In your own life, how often does the weight of expectation, the hunger for specific outcomes, become a source of stress? Consider the freedom in performing actions for their own sake, in giving your best while releasing the need for control over the results. The Buddha's profound wisdom shines through the words. In the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. In this graceful letting go, you can engage fully with life without being ensnared by the tentacles of stress. As we pause here, let the question resound within you. What if the true measure of your life is not found in the milestones you reach, but in the depth of your peace, and the openness of your heart. In the teachings of the Buddha, we find a path to a stress-free existence, not through the avoidance of life's inherent challenges, but through a profound inner transformation. By anchoring to the breath, embracing non-attachment, cultivating contentment, and mastering the dance of detachment, we can navigate the tumultuous waters of life with equanimity and grace. The power of equanimity. The Buddha, through his insight into the nature of reality, emphasized the importance of equanimity, remaining even-keeled in the face of life's highs and lows. Equanimity is the steady hand that calms the shaking of the world, the balanced scale that does not tip in the winds of fortune or misfortune. In the practice of equanimity, one finds the strength to welcome joy without clinging and to meet sorrow without despair. The Buddha taught that just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not affected by praise or blame. When you cultivate equanimity, stress loses its foothold, for you are no longer tossed about by the dualities of life. One of the most beautiful gifts the Buddha offered to the world is the practice of metta, or loving kindness. Metta is the heartfelt wish for the well-being of oneself and others, a radiant compassion that warms and softens the heart. Imagine your heart as a lamp, and every act of kindness, every gentle thought, every wish for the happiness of others as fuel for that flame. The Buddha's teaching of metta illuminates the path. As a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so, let one cultivate a boundless love towards all beings. In the warmth of this boundless love, stress is like snowflakes upon a sunlit surface. It cannot endure. Insight, or vipassana, is the penetrating vision into the true nature of all things that the Buddha attained and shared. It is seeing things as they really are, impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self. This clarity of vision cuts through the fog of illusion, allowing one to live with wisdom and authenticity. When you view life through the lens of insight, the impermanence of every stressful situation becomes apparent. You understand that this too shall pass, and in this understanding, you find the composure to remain unshaken by the transient storms of life. The Buddha's message is clear. Wisdom arises from meditation. Without meditation, wisdom wanes. Through the cultivation of insight, the veils of stress are lifted, revealing the serene landscape of your true nature. Finally, the Buddha recognized the importance of Sangha, the community of like-minded individuals who support each other on the path. Sangha is a refuge, a place of mutual encouragement, shared growth, and collective wisdom. In the embrace of Sangha, individual stress is met with collective compassion. The Buddha understood the power of togetherness when he said, "Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life." In the fellowship of others, one's burdens are lightened, and the journey towards a stress-free life is shared. As we bring this exploration to a close, let us ponder the possibility that the path to a life without stress is not a solitary trek, but a shared pilgrimage. The teachings of the Buddha, equanimity, loving kindness, insight, and community, serve as pillars on which a tranquil life can be built. They offer a sanctuary for the weary, a light for the lost, and a balm for the troubled heart. In this spirit, may you walk gently upon the earth, cultivating a garden of peace within, so that its fragrance may spread far and wide, bringing serenity to all you encounter.